And welcome back. I'm VPS2 Music here, and today we are going to be taking a look at my new song that I haven't done in forever. We haven't done a video like this in forever. But my new song called Sybor's Sweet. Sybor apostrophe S Sweet. So, without further ado, we'll take it like we do every song. I haven't color coded this time, so we're going to try something a little bit different as I take it apart. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and listen to it like we always do, and then we'll just take it apart section by section this time instead of going, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, here we go. Oh, that was beautiful right there. Okay, here we go. and it just fades. All right, cool. So let's just jump straight into it. Yeah, it was. This song was so much fun to write. But yeah, it just all started about me just messing around. So I kind of was just playing around with sound effects. And I was like, this is cool. This is cool. So really, I just started and ended with it. So just kind of have like encasing it around its original sound. Yeah. We have now going to my risers. So that was like my sound effects, and then to my risers. So just kind of like a very risers are like really cool, like introductions and stuff to to like the more epic or just to like the bigger parts, the bigger sections too. So it's not so it doesn't just like jump straight into it like it used to, but just little extra things to kind of add to the overall complexity and coolness of the song. Okay, so now my synth section, which is colored in pink. So we have my first synth. So that's kind of like the main overarching theme of the whole song. And then it goes back and then it introduces the 4 chords that I'm using. It goes down. So then I bring this guy in. I was really playing around with more like effects and just kind of more cool, unique sounds and such. So I was just playing with it. I'm like, oh, it has like a little extra tail to the end. So then I went up an octave. Try to get the so to play with like the chords, but then also to kind of have a unique, interesting, like huge introduction contrast to the feel. And when I show you the brass later, it really just adds. It's a huge, very like this kind of majestic, just have like a really unique, cool, interesting sound that just kind of introduces the whole song together. Okay, so then we get to our first introduction of basically the main part, the main melody, which is right here. I'll show you all later, but it kind of adds just a little like unique synth kind of thing on top, which really sounded cool. And then my whistle synth, as I said, because it sounds like a whistle. Just kind of really playing around with it at that point. But yeah. And then this part, which I really quite enjoyed. And that's the main melody again right there. And then I actually have this break that I put the crystal back in to kind of add that effect, because holding that note longer than as long as I did was actually kind of an accident, and I'll explain later why that was when I get down to the piano and such. But it's just very like. But the whistle synth I really enjoyed a lot. It just adds a lot to the rest of the orchestral parts. And then Oh, actually, no, this is part first. Yeah, the soft synth kind of takes like the bass note, of the chord, and just the higher octave, and just goes down. Just to kind of fill this section just a little bit. Just kind of add the unique little sound to it. So I was just kind of really going for unique here. And then my favorite part, personally, this part, but this crystal synth comes back. Then we have the hard synth back again. Actually, tag team with the brass doing the same thing. Then we have the soft synth, the same soft synth that was in the first introduction of the main theme. This is like the second introduction, just to kind of signify that's the main theme. Then the whistle is doing the main theme again. I'll actually unlock this for you so I can play for you. So it goes. So the chords I'm using is just G, E flat, F, and C. So taking the G, so it goes D with the G. And that's the main theme right there. That's like the main theme, the simple melody. It's uber simple. So, but it's very like majestic and as like a really almost like a hope feeling kind of melody. And then it continues to do its thing with actually this, I think the whistle synth is tag teaming with female vocals here, and well, I'll get to there. And then we have it just kind of ends it really like how it started. So, all right. So now we got my string section. I'm using a ton of cellos, all from Albion, except for my high strings. When I get there, I'll get there. But I'm just hitting the key switches right now. We're just kind of like underlaying the brass, because the brass needed something. So just having fun there. And then getting into the epic chordal staccato string section. But as a fun fact that I like sharing, this part here, that's actually how this song came about. Like I was like, oh, I'll just use this song and just change it up a bit. But I know a couple of my friends who heard me play it on the piano, they'll understand. It's like, oh, see, that's where it came from. But, which is fun. And then I basically add another. So first cello, second cello, and then I have bass and third cello kind of taking the top. So it makes it really epic. What I'm doing here is these are my key switches, so that like in my program in Albion, I can have multiple different like strings that can do staccato or legato or sustain notes. So basically it just switches the way the instrument is played, and so I do that through keystrokes so that I don't have to make a whole bunch of the tracks in order to, and then I don't have to make a whole bunch of tracks. I can just put it in one track so I waste less RAM. So yeah, I'll keep going with that. So then we get to the elongated part again with the with this guy right here. The where I accidentally, on purposely, held it way too long, held the note longer than I wanted to, but then I ended up working with it anyways. But so to that part, I was like, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use my accidentals. I'm not going to fix it like I would usually do. So, and then I just kind of used it and added the synth, the kind of the texture, and some the drums down here. I'll get to that. But it does that whole thing. It's too long. But then, so I add this like this part in the cello section where it just kind of adds that interesting feeling that just like it's kind of like stopping and then goes into a drive with the bass, which is really fun. And then we go on, and as it gets kind of, you're bringing everybody. So I talked about the key switches, and what I'm switching to is a legato right here, and then basically the cello string. Please, sorry, little siblings. So I was using some sort of basically strings that have mutes on them, so it's a little quieter. Another cool thing with Albion is that Albion recorded this cello section, two different cello sections. So they had recorded one on the right side of the stage and one section on the left side of the stage. So you still have the full mix. So that's what I'm using. I'm using my my main melody, the legato, on the right side of the stage, I believe. Forgot. Yeah, on the right side of the stage, and then my concerto strings on the left. So I'm using a ton of cellos, but I'm using two different sections of cellos, so they sound different, and it's really cool. So it sounds really realistic. I feel like. So then I go into this next section. Before I get into that cool little thing, I have this kind of melody, or this counter the melody in this string, and the quieter strings, the muted strings underneath that. If you can hear it still, then it kind of goes together. And then, if you didn't hear already, just the bass going dun 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 dun, which is fun. And then we get into this. What section is that? Fourth section. Yeah, the fourth section of more of, it's almost like a sad but reassuring theme. So again, with my legatos on the right side of the stage, and the my muted strings on my left side. So and then I bring in my high strings. Which I actually pulled these strings from Friedland, the Friedlander violin, which they basically Friedlander violins ensemble patch, where they basically just stacked like 8 of the same solo violin, mixed it, and just like made them all a little slightly different, so it sounds like more. But then I add a reverb and such to give it, and then try to mix it with all the other strings. So. Which was a lot of fun. Okay, so now I'm just doing this key switch again to get the staccatos back. And it's the same section as, so it's still the main theme. That's what I call it. That's called the main theme. All right, so that's my string section. Really, really fun, really cool. I enjoyed it a lot making it. Okay, so now we have my brass, also from Albion. So it starts very like quiet. Very emotional. It gets deeper. And it just jumps right back down from that, and then grows again with the 4 main chords. And that's really just covering this synth right here. Here it comes. You can really hear it. Portrait. So then I did this all in one take, so I just played it, banged it out on the piano. So then just adds the cello, some of the variations of the melody, which actually you revisit here with these strings. But it grows in dynamics. And that was kind of an accident too, because I know it's like not perfect and the timing is not right. But I was like a thing for like, you know what, I'm gonna work with what I got. So then I ended up putting a riser there, and it ended up being. And then I don't use brass until the very end. Oh, way over here. And then again, the main melody. And then I do go on. And again, the hard synth is partnering with that. So it's the same chords, and same performance as well. Okay, now we get to the piano, which is my favorite part. I love piano stuff. So this is called the paper piano. It has like a really unique, kind of cool sound to it, and I really enjoyed it. After a while, I didn't like it at first, but I was like, you know what, I'm just going to keep playing with it and see. And I ended up falling in love with the piano. It just has a lot of, and when it just sounds interesting. But it's really cool. I like all the reverb and the texture stuff to it. So yeah, I basically did this all in one take too, and this is where I kind of messed up per se, because I'm usually like, I want to be perfect with timing stuff, but I was like, you know what, I'm not going to fix it this time. And that's the part where I was like, I'm going to add the cello. So I ended up using it. But there's the main theme right there once again, that did the 4 notes. So just variations of the same theme. Okay, so now we got my personal favorite part. It's a little hard to hear. I mean, it's hard to listen to because it's so high and it still has all that synthetic material. But yeah, here. It sounds really, really weird by dry or by itself or naked, you could say. But with this, it just sounds like this ended up being my favorite part. I'll just put this one back. And then I have my piano from The Giant, which is my piano, and I think it's called Intimate. So it has like a very wide, deep what do you call it? Reverb to it. So that's all that goes for this, guys. And then as we get onto the main melody and the epicness, we just have like my piano's doing cool little things. Just little bits of here and there. And then the other piano kind of joins in. So they kind of come together and kind of do the same thing. So, yeah, piano section. Now guitar and bass. Or my guitar, my plucked string instruments, if you want to say. This is called Aggressive. This patch is called Aggressive. Oh, what's the word for it? It's right there. No, let's see. We can just check. Take me 2 seconds. Or Stranger Harmonics. That's what it's called. But this is what it looks like. So evolved from evolved mutations. And I'll lock it back up again just so my computer doesn't die on me. So it's just freezing real fast. It basically locks all the tracks into place. 2 seconds. Okay, so that's the main theme right there. Dun, dun. So with the cool harmonic piece, and then one of my favorite parts actually, from coming all to the this cool cello, like goes into something, just like a driving bass line, which was a lot of fun to write right there. And this is kind of like next section. So I have like the I kind of do that in my music. I just kind of like and then it has like a pickup note to like, okay, it's gonna keep going. So I'll do bass first this part. So it's going actually right here where the stuff's in. But yeah, so same line. So a little variation to make it entertaining for the listener. That's almost my goal, is to make it very entertaining for the listener, to be like, just to kind of be engrossed in it and not be bored really. So I didn't do a lot of I'm just playing with the delay right here, and it was really fun to get that cool sound to it. Oops. Oh, bad. Okay. And then we just have this at the end. So the same from right here. Same from the main melody one. If we want to call it that. It's the same lick right there. And then my bass, actually right here is actually with my so they're just together. Okay, which is cool. Now we have, I believe I only use it here. So now we have my vocals, which are purple. So here we go. So this is kind of like a mix between humming and oohing. Ooh. But I was for this section right here, which again I'm gonna say is my favorite section that I wrote. but just kind of adding the layer of just kind of made it a little bit more wide and more like sadding, because it's a very like emotional sad theme. That's my feeling. So yeah, we go from so it goes to a straight O there. So you can just to provide a little bit of dynamic level. Okay, then my second favorite part, the male vocals. They're humming, so I had to turn it up a little bit, as you can see, compared to everything else on my mixing. When they break up, so we have our which is really, it was just so stinking fun to do. To have just a section where that it sounds good, like I have the stuff that sounds good enough that it can actually be by itself. Just add some little bit of reverb here and there and just really bring it out. So then we have here. Which again is doubling with the whistle, except for the whistle is going to be an octave down. And then we have more of the bass line with so like all the notes that are part of the main melody. It's the hard synth, the whistle synth, the brass, the vocals, the guitar, and this is what it sounds like. So yeah, so they provide the meat for it, and then everything else is kind of like the bones and the fun stuff. All right, now percussion, which was the last thing I always do. I always feel like if I start with percussion, I don't have a mute. I mean, I know composers who start with percussion and are great at it, but I always like I like to write percussion as like an add to. So I was like to add intensity or add like very like subtle gestures. So I don't like writing like huge percussion in your face. That was a lot of fun to do though. And then he just has this roll. Just to add, because there's just so much going on here that's so wide and huge that just to add that. That's a lot of fun. And then I'll just start here because that's what kind of gets more interesting. The toms and sticks and bass drum. I'll let you listen to the percussion because this is only like the second time I've listened to percussion by itself. So it's almost like a march. And as it goes on, it kind of adds the whistle synth as kind of like a melody of some sort. The tom gets more creative. And the tom just kind of goes out, and then bass drum. And then again here, like I was saying, this actually is going with the whistle synth at this point. Then it has that part, and so I bring in a little bit of extra touch to it. as it gets. It's got another very marchy, marchy sounding. So again, as it goes on, the tones always get a little more creative. And then bass drum kind of adds a little bit to here. Kind of just gives a really nice low boom, boom to it. And then we get into the section where this is way more simple. But again, kind of like a. I actually take out tones right there. It just like disappears. This is a lot of fun though. So I'll build this one for you because it's really fun. So bass drums. And toms that do. And snares are doing their usual thing that I like to do for them. Sticks, I always forget what sticks are doing here. Something like that, sorry. But it gets very, it sounds very cool to go. And it does do a good job for being percussion to get that drive to it. And it gets a little more complicated and more fun towards the end, just to give it some change to it. And just goes. So that is pretty much it. That's all the tracks I've written. No, that's it. That's all I've got. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Sybor's Suite. So 5 minutes and 48 seconds, I believe, of pure awesomeness. So rate, comment, like, subscribe. Don't forget to check out the link to SoundCloud. There you'll be able to see the art that my friend did, and then the story that a couple of people did for me that through Facebook and social media. Yes, I'll also post my Facebook page link in the description below so that you'll be actually to get involved. Speaking of which, I actually want to keep doing more things like this, that to kind of get more artists involved, writers, people who do art for me, or I don't know, do videos or something that all have to do around maybe a song or something. But I think it'd be really cool if we could start getting a cumulative, a group. I don't know the word, I can't say it. A group of artists who just come together and do stuff for each other and just have a blast, but also like promote each other in all these different ways. So I think that would be really cool, and to start doing that in my projects to come. So don't forget to like my page on Facebook, because then I'll be able to, then you'll be able to, as an artist or as someone, or someone who's just checking out, would be able to, give me, maybe a story or a piece of art to use, or maybe even post something to give me inspiration for music. It works every single way. So I'm going to start working on I don't know what we'll call it like the artist project, or or you choose, or or something like that, something where you make decisions, and you provide art and stuff. So like kind of more an audience, fan base to promote each other and have fun about it. So with that, I think it's been a long video, so I will talk to you later. Peace.